Hi, this is Richard with Richard Runs Trails. Beautiful day out at Lake Georgetown. Today I'm on the Russell Camp trailhead. Let's go for a run. I'll tell you about my Bandera 100K last weekend. Let's go. So it's a bit cold out today for Texas anyways. It's about 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and which is about 5 degrees Celsius. This is a very technical trail, a lot like Bandera, and this is really my first run since last weekend because my feet have been very sore. It's still a little bit sore, but I'm okay now. Bandera 100K is in Bandera, Texas, Hill Country State Park. It's the 5th time I've done the race, and this year I finished it. Took me about 1 hour. Very windy today. Took me about 1 hour longer than previous years. The course hello. The course was very wet. It rained all morning long, and when you have a very rocky technical course, the only thing make it more difficult is to add water, and that's what happened. I had to carry one of my poles, and I usually do that late in a race, but it was so slippery and then I had to carry it from the beginning. Temperature was about 10 degrees Celsius or 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Temperature was great. There were people from all over the world. I ran against people from Canada. I met one guy from Denmark. Of course, a lot of locals. But it's always a very international race because it's a Western States qualifier. It's 100K, which is 62 miles, but I think it's much more difficult than a lot of 100-milers. A 100-miler is a 160 kilometers. So it's my 5th time to do it. It took me about an hour longer than I did the previous year. It took me about 19 hours. And that's pushing pretty hard, at least for me. But due to the rain, I kind of was, at the end of the race, I was happy I finished, but I was a little bit down because my time was worse than the previous year. I was hoping to do better. I felt a lot better shape. But turns out, actually I beat quite a bit of people. There are a lot of people that quit the race. It was just really difficult because of the wet rocks. Even a lot of the pros, which did a very fast first lap. It's a 2-lap race, 31 miles each lap. A lot of the pros quit after the first lap. They just weren't happy with their progress or had not a good chance to win a golden ticket. The guy that won the race, he was from Boulder, Colorado, and the guy that got second place, I forget their names. The guy that got second place was from Wyoming. So the guys live in the mountains, and I think that was very useful for Bandera this year. And anyways, tell you a little bit about the race. The first lap, like I said, it was wet, kind of uneventful. I felt pretty good. kept my pace pretty steady, and went into the second lap feeling okay. I got a little off on my nutrition. I did something a little bit different this year. I was basically eating all protein bars, and I think it worked pretty well for me actually, but I just didn't eat enough of them. So I plan to keep using that strategy. I just got slowed down because I was carrying one pole. People, you know, pole makers probably say, why don't you carry one pole, why not two? Well, in Texas it's big hills, not really mountains. You just need it for technical sections to help you down and up, especially when it's slippery. I found that one pole is much better. I saw some other people using one pole too, so I'm not the only one with the idea, but it worked pretty well. Downside is on some of the runnable sections, or fast runnable sections I should say, it slows you down because you can't really use your arms. You're carrying a pole in one hand. But once the night came, it got a little bit cooler. I wore pants, and I was regretting it a little bit in the middle of the day, but at night it was really a good choice. I know some people out there in shorts were really cold because it was very windy, a lot like today, and so it makes it feel colder. Anyways, met a lot of good people. One interesting thing is I was running, and it was about halfway through the second lap, getting late at night, and I saw this stick figure. You know, people put the reflective tape on have it on the back of their running uniform. You know, they're made that way. But imagine running through pitch black forest and seeing a stick figure, because I was using my lights, you know, and they had no light. I thought I was hallucinating. It was bizarre because there was a tall, skinny guy, and he had stick figure reflectors on the back, so it looked like a stick man running through the forest with no light. I was like, what in the world is that? I really thought I was hallucinating. I got closer, and the guy, his light went out, so he was going through the forest. I mean, it was dark, really dark forest, no moon, with no light. I said, first thing I said to the guy is, how can you see where you're going? Because there's so many rocks. I mean, you could really get hurt tripping on a rock there. And he says, I really can't. I'm just going really slow. So he ran behind me till we got to the next aid station. He was able to find another light. But like I said before, you know, I'm not a big fan of lithium ion battery powered lights. I worked in the lithium battery business for many years. It's good, and it's good for the environment, but you have to charge them. The replaceable batteries are pretty big. Well, guess what? He's using a Solomon lithium ion powered light. I'm like, well, I carry extra batteries for my light. I've got AA and AAA, because I have a small backup light too. I was going to give him in case he couldn't get one at the next aid station. He's like, well, I can't use them. Mine is a chargeable light. Yeah, you're pretty much out of luck if you have a chargeable light and it goes dead in the middle of the forest, unless you carry one of the big rechargeable batteries. So I highly recommend don't use those. Use alkaline battery lights. So much more convenient. I know all the manufacturers are changing to lithium ion because it's more green and all that. I'm telling you what, you're gonna get stuck in the forest someday. And there's nothing worse. That happened to me, actually my first Bandera 100K. That was about 4 years ago. 3 miles from the finish, my light went out. My problem was I didn't know I'd be in the dark that long. My first ultra, or first long ultra. And luckily someone had a spare light. I learned my lesson. I always carry 2 lights, always carry backup batteries for both lights. Plus, my third, if everything goes to hell, my third way is my phone, which I keep powered off just so the battery stays full. So you gotta be really careful about lighting. Anyways, that guy was stuck in the middle of the forest, and he'd been going slow for a long time until he saw me. But it really freaked me out because it looked like a ghost stick figure going through the forest. I remember the last thing that spooked me like that was at Rocky Raccoon. One year I was running through the forest and I saw a body laying on the ground. And you know, Rocky Raccoon is, that's bayou country. There's alligators, snakes, a lot of water moccasins, everything you can imagine. This part of Texas is very wet. And here's this guy laying on the trail not too far from the swamp. I came up on him. I said, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yeah, I'm just taking a rest." He's just laying on the ground. I was like, man, you're much braver than me. That kind of spooked me because I thought he had a heart attack or something. Anyways, that happened. You know, stick figure guy, nice guy. He just scared me, and he's pretty scared himself because I think it was his first ultra and he ran out of lighting in the pitch black forest. But not too, probably a few miles before I saw him, I was doing the power line section. Anytime you hear the word power line, if you're new to ultras, you ever hear the word power line, it means hard as hell, because it's when they tear through the forest, knocking trees down to put it in a power line. And it's always uphill. Anyways, it's a tough section. And I was on the outskirts of the state park that I was in. Neighboring, I could see the fence. On the other side of the fence was a ranch, you know, private landowner. Coming up on the lake here. Anyways, you know, it's 11 o'clock at night, pitch black. I start hearing an automatic weapon. To me, it sounded like an AR-15 machine gun. Somebody was shooting rounds. Heard 3 or 4 rounds. It wasn't automatic, it's semi-automatic. And I didn't know which direction they're shooting, but it wasn't too close to me, but I knew it was on the property to the right of me in the private land. Later, when I finished the race, I told the race director about it so they can look into it. Of course, that's poaching. Can't shoot animals at night like that. But it scared shit out of me because I didn't know. Well, it didn't scare me that bad, but alarmed me because I didn't know which way they were shooting. I didn't want to get hit by some bullet. So those are the 2 things that really kind of were weird in the race. But there's some horrendous technical hills in Bandera. I don't care how many times you're on them, it never gets easy. And the hardest hill is about 2 miles from the finish, and you have to do it twice because it's a 2-lap race. But I was happy I finished. Oh, then the next surprise was, I'm not crazy about belt buckles like some people are, because I've got so many of them. I've just been doing ultras a long time, but I went to get my buckle. I almost fell there. I went to get my buckle, and the race director said, "Well, your buckle is in a sea container in the Pacific somewhere because of supply chain issues. Delayed so long." It's amazing. It's affecting everything. My business, which is electronics, food, shelves are empty. Now ultra buckles are delayed. I guess it's low priority on the big scope of things. It was the first time I couldn't get my belt buckle because they hadn't arrived yet. Anyways, race director is going to mail them to us whenever they do come in. But if it'd been your first ultra marathon, you'd probably be disappointed because everybody wants to get their first buckle, you know. But I thought that was interesting. This looks exactly like Bandera right here. Rocks, rocks, rocks. In Texas, we call this a rock garden. Be careful your footing. My next race is Run Love It in Arkansas. It's also a very technical race, but a lot of elevation. I'll put a shot of the elevation about now in the video, so you can take a look at it. But it's basically it's a 100-mile race, which is 160 kilometers, and elevation is about 100 feet every mile. So ascent and descent, 100 feet every mile. So it's pretty challenging. I think it's about 20,000 over 100 miles. It's a very tough race. I look forward to it. I'm doing 2 Arkansas races this year. Travelers in the fall, which I didn't finish last year. Also a tough race, but Run Love It is the toughest one. And the experienced people say that, you know, give you an idea how tough it is if you run under 24 hours, you won the race. That's a pretty tough race. You know, usually 100 miles, you know, 18, 19 hours, unless it's a top pro race. But Run Love It, if you finish under 24 hours, you're gonna win the race. I got 34 hours to finish. I expect I'm gonna use most of those hours. If I do real well, somewhere between 30 to 32, but I got 34 to finish, and I'm gonna finish. That's my plan. Hey, that concludes my video today of my run. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel. It helps me out a lot. Also, please like the video. I'm gonna post my race schedule for the rest of the year. I got most of them planned. Not much for the fall, but I do know I'll be doing travelers in the fall. If you're gonna be out at any of the races, look me up. I'd like to chat with you, run with you if possible. And if anybody needs a pacer for Rocky Raccoon in February, which is in 2 weeks, I'm happy to help out on 1 lap or maybe 2. They're 20-mile laps. So I plan to go out to Rocky Raccoon, maybe do some filming, but I'd love to pace somebody if somebody needs a pacer. Let me know. You can send me an email at runnerrwe@gmail.com. Have a great day. Take care. Bye for now.